Hey, Rich.
Hey
Um,
Sarah,
how are you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Good. Good. So we've been asked by some sewers to kind of give them a bit of a chat through some of our favourite projects and give them a bit more of a verbal kind of update. I think you said like fill in the gaps of what you've learned from chatting to these people and doing some due diligence. So I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see that. This
Yeah,
is the front page of JustSow.org. And if we just look at projects here, we can click on see all projects. And then I'm going to filter it to UK. And I'm going to filter it to regular projects. Here we go. These are our available projects. Over to you, Rich. Did you want to start with Kairos cards?
so this is Michael. He is an academic, but he is also passionate about trading cards. Now, some of you might remember football cards in the back in the day. That's the only reference I've got, trading stickers. But this is more a kind of a whole subculture of trading cards, where these beautifully created cards that are in plastic boxes share a story or a value. And what Michael's innovated around is actually sharing biblical truth and stories through these cards, really beautifully presented. Now, he's taken a lead on this, invested his own money, developed the sort of the artwork, and also then wants to kind of use these as like a sharing the gospel with trading cards option, where people buy them and then trade them and share them with each other. But more than that, then invite people into conversation around the cards themselves. And like if people want to go deeper, to actually like develop that into kind of almost like a sort of study group space where people can like discuss who the characters are, what they like about them, and where the stories come from, which is all scriptural. So he's also buddied up a little bit with his local church around cafe culture to sort of demonstrate these sort of discussion group spaces. So he's done
Amazing.
a lot of kind of early sort of distribution of these sort of cards with people and sort of seen the effects and impact of them. And he's excited to kind of take this as a sort of kind of side passion project and launch it a bit more seriously to impact many, many more people, to get into some spiritual conversations about Jesus.
Yeah. So
So
it
good
talks
stuff.
here about each card, including a QR code linking to Sacred Grounds Cafe's monthly theology and coffee gatherings. He's wanting to have 100+ gospel conversations. He's talking about equipping London churches for cultural translation, how to create those into discipleship groups in Alpha. So it's really interesting.
And what I love about this as well for me is kind of I didn't even know this was a space that you could kind of
Yes.
bring God into the mix, and for this kind of for people who are into these trading cards thing, it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
So
I remember
really
being on the
interesting.
train back from London not long ago and seeing these kids opening pack after pack after pack of Pokemon
Yeah,
cards, like quite old teenagers. I was like, wow, this is a real thing.
yeah. There you
It's
go.
amazing. Okay, Four Fingers.
Four
Four
Fingers. So
Fingers Live.
This is TJ. He's based in Reading. He's been committed and connected in the area to local church. Has got a real passion around music and performance of spoken word. And what his real gift is creating sort of a third space where people from the church and also people from secular background music performers might come together, share a stage. And have content that has meaning in it, and then opening that up for, I guess, like curious seekers, spiritual seekers, to kind of come in, enjoy the entertainment aspect, but also enable people to kind of, I guess, sit with some of the messages that are being conveyed through some of those sharing the gospel through their own lives, testimony, performances. And what I love about it is diverse. It's got an entertainment element
Mm.
to it. It's open to different age demographics, but it also then gives an opportunity to then have follow-up conversations and signpost people into something else, whether that's local alpha courses, whether that's local church activities or groups. And it's attracting people who are, wanting to connect with something beyond just, I guess, sort of a gig space, but just sort
Mm.
of look at something that is kind of builds community and is a bridge into church. So TJ's worked hard on an annual event for a number of years, but he's recognizing doing it once a year is not reaching many more
Mm.
new people.
Mm.
So he wants to take JustSow funding to enable him to sort of scale this up
Yep.
into a bi-monthly model, so that there's a higher frequency of events, inviting more artists in, more performers in, and hopefully engaging with many more people across the
Mm.
year.
That makes sense because his current expenditure is 3,200, which is also what he's got down here. But I guess that's one event, isn't it? And he's
Yes.
wanting to scale that up. I love it
Yeah.
where he says this. Where does he say? We measure success not just by numbers, but the diversity of the crowd, bringing together people from different walks of life who share a love for music. Success also looks like providing a sober, positive, or safe space alternative to traditional nightlife. So he's
Absolutely.
making sure that their KPI is that 50% of the audience identifies as not knowing God or not being
Yeah.
regular churchgoers. So that's, you know, that's a
And I
great
love that
project
this
if he
is
manages
a
that.
place. this is a place that people who have got faith in Jesus would feel happy inviting their friends in. It's a low
Mm.
threshold
Yeah,
to get them in, to connect with kind of the fun of the event, but then the message of the event comes through.
absolutely. Okay, I'm rushing us through.
No,
Silver
that's good.
Screen Community Film Studios. Talk to me about Rebecca Peacock.
So Rebecca's based up in Manchester. She is amazing at drawing together people for two forms. One is to actually make films together and develop and train the skills so that people might discover how to act and develop film and edit film. And they've already got some real traction with that. And this is taking a production that will go further and have a bigger impact. So they're going to focus on the Christmas stories in their next film idea, Oggy Christmas,
Oggy Christmas.
which is the plan for the funding this time that they want to go for.
Okay.
And they are engaging with 30 local people in Wythenshawe, South Manchester, to actually deliver it. Some
Yeah,
of those are of
it's good.
faith and many who are not. So it's part of their own journey is they're reaching people locally through involvement in the production. So really impressive how they're doing that.
Mm.
They then want to do a nice film premiere, invite their friends and family, make a big show of it. So there's a real sense of inviting people in to see the work as well, to
Mm.
launch the film. And I love that strategy, and that's proven effective on previous work they've done.
Yeah,
And then they want to kind of then invite people into Alpha Space or similar to say, if you've got faith, this is to provoke questions. If you want to know more about who this amazing person is, Jesus,
mm.
then do come into these other spaces. So it's got a clear track of like connection and engagement into kind of a deeper conversation.
Brilliant. And we're familiar with Danielle Campbell, the reference. We've had
That's
quite
right.
a good link with the message over the years, haven't we? And I would say sort of things that are connected to the Message Community Church and that whole kind
Mm,
of movement tend to be quite reliable, trustworthy, definitely
absolutely.
evangelistic
And I
in
think
how they're set up.
their church is touching thousands of people locally on a
Yeah.
regular basis. So having the film coming out of that community or kind of serving that community first is going to have a big impact.
Let's look at Wolverhampton Passion Play.
Yeah, Wolverhampton Passion Play. So this is a really exciting project that over the years there's been good unity in Wolverhampton to reach the town for Jesus, but amongst the churches. Last year they did a big Easter push and did lots of artwork within the local churches and displayed that. And I think this is a real interesting project to scale up that engagement from inside the church walls to out on the street. So they're going to do a Passion Play sharing the Easter story on the streets of Wolverhampton involving all the churches, and then giving brilliant opportunity for follow-up. They're hoping that 100 individuals would take significant steps of faith off the back of it, supported with discipleship
Brilliant.
and connection in the local church. Because they're all involved, they're all going to be there, and they're all going to be able
Mm.
to then readily connect people who have got a spiritual hunger into something more. The
Yes.
unity
And
of
they're
30,
connecting in with the college as well, aren't they? I
they are, yeah,
think
that's right.
last year that
So
was part of it, so that's
yeah.
interesting.
So I think they've got this sort of that kind of like momentum across the town, and I think that speaks of fruitfulness, doesn't it? Just like
Yeah,
when they're all in the same, they've got the same kind of goal. I
yeah.
think there's going to be real fruit from that.
And I know one of our sewers has asked about whether the churches are contributing to the budget. So we're thinking that JustSow will be about half the budget, but we're just waiting
Yeah,
for confirmation from them
yeah. We
on
just clarify that as soon
who
as we
where the
can.
rest coming
We're
from.
correct.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I love the town-wide thing. I think when there's more people getting involved, and as you
Mm,
said, the discipleship pathways are then sort of ready-made for people coming to Jesus and wanting to explore more. So right, I'm going to
exactly.
rush us on to 1010. This is a charity called UDB, who I'm familiar with.
Mm,
They're trustworthy. They've moved into this estate, I think, 20 odd years ago, and have been prayer walking and seeing lots of people come to faith, brought their families up there. And it's kind of become now this established charity that does quite a lot of schools work and things.
yeah.
But it feels like they're kind of almost returning to their roots a little bit in terms of some of this stuff that they're looking to do. Tell us about 1010.
So 10:10 is inspired by Matthew 10 and Luke 10, where Jesus sent out the 12 and the 72. And this is about sending people out to engage with people on a very one-to-one or small group basis, where they're going to use Discovery Bible Study as a main tool to engage people in conversations about Scripture, how people might find themselves in the story of Scripture. And what's really exciting about it is they have a kind of a good ambition of the number of people they want to reach, but they
Mm,
also want to then multiply that impact. So the beauty of Discovery Bible Study is that you're kind of teaching people how to involve themselves in reading the word and being transformed by it, but it's very easy, and it then enables them and empowers them to have a go back with their home, in their home with their
Yes.
family
Yeah.
or their group of mates. So it's
So it's
modeling
that
something.
ripple effect, isn't
It's
it?
a model, a multiply model. That kind of approach, which is great.
And I love
Uh,
that they map their community every 3 months in
yeah,
terms of spiritual hunger. They've got 60 names currently on the map with these weekly prayer gatherings, and they're recording spiritual conversations. So it's part of what they're doing already. And
absolutely.
Matthew 10 and Luke 10 is the sending of the 12 and the 72, isn't it? So it's that
Yeah,
real feeling of kind of galvanizing something.
absolutely. No, that's
We
good.
could talk about this for such a long
Do you
time.
want
They're
me to
so
jump on
good
this one, or do you
projects.
want to say?
Well, I'll just start by saying that we met Dave together, didn't we, initially on the
Yeah.
phone? And he was just a really inspiring and interesting
Mm.
guy, I thought. He's done this art exhibition already where he's done these absolutely amazing drawings of these Bible characters and enables people to really kind of get into the story of these people and how Jesus has impacted them. But what I
Mm.
love is he's being quite entrepreneurial in that he's kind of seeing that there's I guess, a cap on how many people can visit a particular one exhibition. And so he's wanting to print smaller ones, isn't he? And sending them out to schools and helping churches around the country to then get people engaging with these stories.
Yeah. So again, he's sort of done the proof of concept that there's real engagement with artwork and spiritual curiosity. Great conversations coming off the back of it. But yeah, if you can put mailable exhibition sets together, the opportunity to take that into schools, into prisons,
Mm,
into other contexts, community groups, anybody can host it. And you then set up an experience and a space for people to engage with the stories themselves.
yes.
I really like that, and this scalability
Yeah.
that he's worked on this resource is really innovative. And
Yes.
I think it will really. What happens is art transcends our kind of our logic sometimes and goes straight to the heart. And so I think
Mm,
this is a really valuable project for doing that in different communities around the
yeah.
country.
And what I love also is there's quite a bit of a business feel to this one. So he's wanting to sell the sets. So he's
Correct.
not just wanting to make money, but it is that sense of kind of sustainability. And like
Yeah.
actually, if he could have an injection of cash to really get some stuff printed and to get some marketing and to do, make himself known, as it were, then there is a sustainable income stream here. He was talking to us about wanting to get embedded into the RE curriculum
Mm.
so that schools could then engage with it. He was talking about developing AI with some really clear, like, parameters on where the AI draws their information, the source being only the Bible. But he was telling stories about how, like, people could engage with, like, the woman at the well and then
That's
use the
right.
QR code to have a conversation about how did you feel when Jesus, chatted to you. And,
Mm.
like, I just think it's a really interesting and kind of quite innovative idea,
That's
really,
right.
and concept. So, and
Yeah,
they
it's
have a book as well.
multisensory, and it does engage people's emotions as well as their thinking, which
Mm,
I
mm,
love, because that's what
mm,
God does, doesn't he? He wants to, he knows us as a full person, and this
mm,
project helps people, I
mm,
think, probably hear from God with all of their senses.
mm. Well, thank you. That was a whistle stop
Yeah,
tour.
no
I'm
problem.
just while we're recording, there's a project that I need to fund actually. So
Okay.
I just thought I'd capture the moment while the sewers might be watching. I have a student project that is going to be funded. This one.
Yep.
So I'm clicking on it and I'm looking at it like we just have. I'm going to scroll right to the bottom, past the reference, and this is the sort of funding area. So there's sometimes this yellow box here if they've not got a stewardship recipient account. I'm clicking that I understand I can't sew through stewardship. And what I'm doing here when I click is I'm essentially committing to fund this project. There's no actual financial transaction that happens on the website. We have a confirmation of how much the seeds are. So the ones we've looked through today are all 10K. This is 1K because it's a student one. And then we have this option to donate to the engine room. So we can use the slider that any contribution to the engine room comes into our ops costs. So it funds our gather days, it funds all of the support, the due diligence, everything that we do as a team. Well, you and I at JustSow. So for this one, I'm going to untick that. So I'm not going to contribute to the engine room. It's totally optional. And then fund this student project for 1,000. I click on that. You get this slight panic as the bar comes across. You're like, do I want to cancel this? So I'm funding this in 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go, it's funded. And so what will happen is that Elijah Faulkner will get an email from JustSow saying, yay, your project's been selected. I will get an email saying, thank you for funding this project. And then me at JustSow will communicate with the sewer then to say, right, let's work out how we're going to do this. And usually people will directly give the 1,000 into JustSow's bank account, and we then make the grant, so that we are responsible for kind of that grant conditions, and we'll create the Just Sown and Just Grown report, and the sower can remain anonymous because the donation's coming from our bank account. So I just thought it was a good chance to show the sowers that whilst we're on. And that is it.
That's
so
fantastic.
Thanks for your time, Rich.
Oh,
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
There's some great projects to go for at the moment. Really good.
I know, so many good ones, and some of the others are great as well. We didn't have time to go through them all, but yeah, there's a great bunch on there at the minute. So thanks for all your hard work on that.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.